India's political framework has been significantly shaped by the ideology of democratic socialism. This concept, which blends democratic governance with a strong focus on social welfare and economic justice, has been a guiding force in the country's post-independence policy. Democratic socialism was introduced by leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and later expanded by Indira Gandhi, who made it a key pillar of Indian governance and policy. At its core, democratic socialism in India aims to achieve social equity, inclusive growth, and poverty alleviation. The ideology seeks to protect democratic values while pursuing social justice, ensuring that all citizens, especially the marginalized, have access to equal opportunities. Even though the country has evolved over time, the principles of democratic socialism remain deeply embedded in shaping governance and policy. However, as India faces new socio-economic challenges, the relevance of democratic socialism is continually reassessed. The nation remains committed to social equity and welfare, striving to balance economic growth with the alleviation of poverty. But the path to fully implementing democratic socialism is complex, with challenges emerging as the country adapts to new economic and social realities. Despite these hurdles, the core values of democratic socialism continue to guide Indian governance. This ideology remains a work in progress, constantly evolving to address the needs of a rapidly changing society. The roots of democratic socialism in India. Democratic socialism in India finds its roots in the independence movement, particularly under the influence of leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, who envisioned a socialist republic with a mixed economy. Nehru's vision of democratic socialism involved the establishment of a welfare state that would address the deep inequalities inherited from colonial rule. He aimed for a robust public sector, centralized planning, and state intervention in economic affairs. The key objectives were poverty eradication, provision of basic necessities such as food, education, and healthcare, and equitable distribution of resources. This vision was enshrined in the Constitution of India, which mandates social justice and equality for all citizens while also guaranteeing fundamental rights. The idea was not only to create economic growth but also to ensure that the benefits of this growth were distributed equitably across a society. The focus was on achieving an egalitarian society through state-led reforms and a mixed economy. Democratic socialism in post-independence India. In the decades following independence, democratic socialism was reflected in various policy measures such as land reforms, nationalization of banks and key industries, and the establishment of a public sector-driven economy. The government took the lead in critical sectors like agriculture, industry, and infrastructure, while attempts were made to provide basic social services such as education, healthcare, and housing to the masses. The Planning Commission, established in 1950, was central to this approach, steering India's development through a series of 5-year plans. While these plans helped to build the public sector and promoted industrialization, the outcomes were mixed. Some sectors saw significant progress, while others, especially agriculture, remained backward. The government's extensive control over the economy, often referred to as the license Raj, created bureaucratic inefficiencies and hindered entrepreneurship. Evolution and challenges. The 1990s marked a turning point for India, with economic liberalization bringing a shift away from state control towards market-driven policies. While this was a departure from the earlier socialist model, elements of democratic socialism remained entrenched in the political landscape. The state continued to play a role in social welfare, poverty alleviation, and addressing inequality, even as India embraced globalization and market reforms. In recent years, the nature of democratic socialism in India has been evolving in response to global and domestic economic realities. A shift towards inclusive growth has taken precedence, with an emphasis on policies that focus on social justice and targeted welfare programs. The introduction of schemes like the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which aims to provide financial inclusion to millions of unbanked citizens, and the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which targets affordable housing for the underprivileged, reflect the ongoing commitment to the socialist ideals of equity and justice. Current governance and policy landscape. The Modi government's approach to governance, while market-oriented, also reflects elements of democratic socialism in key areas such as welfare, rural development, and social security. The government has launched ambitious schemes such as the Ayushman Bharat Health Insurance Program, which provides free health coverage to economically vulnerable populations, and the Ujjwala Yojana, which offers free LPG connections to poor households. These programs are designed to reduce socio-economic disparities and ensure that the benefits of development reach the poorest and most marginalized sections of society. Despite these efforts, the challenge lies in the implementation and sustainability of such programs, especially in the face of India's growing population, regional disparities, and an ever-increasing urban-rural divide. Moreover, the market reforms and privatization initiatives pursued by the government have led to debates about the balance between economic liberalization and the core values of democratic socialism. A notable example of this tension is the recent controversy surrounding the privatization of public sector enterprises. Critics argue that the privatization process undermines the principles of socialism by reducing the state's role in safeguarding public welfare. Supporters contend that privatization fosters efficiency, competition, and growth, which in turn can benefit the economy and citizens at large. Democratic socialism and social justice in contemporary India. Democratic socialism in India also emphasizes social justice, which includes addressing issues of caste, gender, and religion. The state has played a critical role in providing affirmative action such as reservations for scheduled castes, SCs, scheduled tribes, STs, and other backward classes, OBCs, to ensure equal opportunities in education, employment, and political participation. This policy aims to uplift historically marginalized communities and provide them with a platform for socio-economic mobility. In recent times, there has been increasing attention on issues like gender equality and minority rights. Programs such as Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, which promotes the welfare and education of girls, and the Jan Dhan Yojana, which has prioritized financial inclusion for women, showcase the government's focus on reducing gender disparities. Additionally, initiatives like the National Food Security Act 2013 and the Direct Benefit Transfer (DBT) scheme aim to ensure that the benefits of government welfare programs reach the intended beneficiaries directly, reducing corruption and inefficiencies. However, the real test for democratic socialism in India lies in its ability to address the growing economic inequality, unemployment, and rural distress that persist despite rapid economic growth. The agricultural crisis, with its rising farmer suicides and protests, as seen in the 2020-2021 farmers' protests against the farm laws, underscores the limitations of current policies in addressing the needs of the rural economy. Furthermore, the challenges posed by the informal sector, labor rights, and the need for a more inclusive economy require a rethinking of the socialist model in a globalized world. The future of democratic socialism in India. The relevance of democratic socialism in India's contemporary governance lies in its ability to adapt to new challenges. As India continues its journey as a global economic powerhouse, the state must balance the forces of market-driven growth with social responsibility. Ensuring that growth is inclusive and benefits all sections of society, particularly the disadvantaged, remains the cornerstone of Indian democratic socialism. Recent policy shifts like the move towards universal basic income or the push for increased spending on social welfare in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrate that the vision of a welfare state is still alive. However, the state must also confront the emerging challenges of global economic shifts, technological advancements, and environmental sustainability. In conclusion, democratic socialism in India remains a critical influence on governance and policy. It embodies the principles of social justice, equality, and state responsibility in addressing the needs of the most vulnerable. While India's economic model has evolved, the underlying commitment to equity and inclusive growth will continue to shape the country's future governance policies. How can democratic socialism in India be reconciled with the demands of economic liberalization and globalization? Discuss the challenges and solutions for a balanced approach.